let's see if I can read.
I believe in you.
Yes.
That's ill-placed belief. I saw the best minds of my generation destroyed by madness, starving, hysterical, naked, dragging themselves through the Negro streets at dawn looking for an angry fix. Angel-headed hipsters burning for the ancient, heavenly connection to the starry dynamo and the machinery of night. In poverty and tatters and hollow-eyed and high sat up smoking in the supernatural darkness of cold water flats floating across the tops of cities contemplating jazz. Who bared their brains to heaven under the L and saw Mohammedan angels staggering on tenement roofs illuminated. Who passed through the universities with radiant, cool eyes, hallucinating Arkansas and Blake light tragedy among the scholars of war. Who were expelled from the academies for crazy and publishing obscene odes on the windows of the skull. Who cowered in unshaven rooms in the underwear, burning their money in wastebaskets and listening to the terror through the walls. Who got busted in their pubic beards returning through Laredo with a belt of marijuana for New York. Who ate fire in paint hotels or drank turpentine in Paradise Alley. Death or purgatories their torso, night after night. With dreams and drugs, with waking nightmares, alcohol and cock and endless balls. Incomparable blind streets, whoop, my page lost. Incomparable blind streets of shuddering cloud and lightning in the mind, leaping towards poles of Canada and Patterson, illuminating all the motionless world of time between. Peyote solidites of halls, backyard green tree, cemetery dawns, wine drunkenness, over the rooftops, storefront, burrows of tea-head joyrides, neon blinking traffic light, sun and moon and tree, vibrations in the roaring winds, dusks of Brooklyn, ash can, rantings and kind king light of mind, who chained themselves to subways for endless rides from Battery to Holy Bronx, on Benzedrine until the noise of wheels and children brought them down, shuddering, mouth-racked and battered, bleak, of brain, all drained of brilliance in the dear light of Zoo. Who sank all night in submarine lights of Bickfords, floated out, and sat through the stale beer afternoon in desolate fugazis, listening to the crack of doom on the hydrogen jukebox. Who talked continuously 70 hours from park to pad to bar to Bellevue to museum to the Brooklyn Bridge, a lost battalion of platonic conversationalists jumping down the stoops of fire escapes, off windowsills, off Empire State, out of the moon. Yakety-yakking, screaming, vomiting, whispering facts and memories, and anecdotes and eyeball kicks and shocks of hospitals and jails and wars, whose intellects, disgorged in total recall for 7 days and nights, with brilliant eyes, meet for the synagogue cast on the pavement. Who vanished into nowhere Zen, New Jersey, leaving a trail of ambiguous picture postcards of Atlantic City Hall, suffering eastern sweats and tangerine bone grindings, and margarines of Chinese under-junk withdrawal in Newark's bleak furnished room, who wandered around and around at midnight in the railroad yard, wondering where to go and went, and leaving no broken hearts, who lit cigarettes in boxcars, racketing through snow towards lonesome farms in grandfather night, who studied Platonius, Poe, St. John of the Cross, telepathy, and Bop Kabbalah, because the cosmos instinctively vibrated at the feet in Kansas, who loaned in through the streets of Idaho seeking visionary Indian angels or visionary Indian angels, who thought they were only mad when Baltimore gleamed in supernatural ecstasy, who jumped in limousines with the Chinamen of Oklahoma on the impulse of winter midnight streetlight small-town rain, who lounged hungry and lonesome through Houston seeking jazz or sex or soup, and followed the brilliant Spaniard on converse about America and eternity, a hopeless task, and so took ships to Africa, who disappeared into the volcanoes of Mexico, leaving behind nothing but the shadow of dungarees and the lava and ash and poetry scattered in fireplace Chicago, who reappeared on the West Coast investigating the FBI in beards and shorts, with big pacifist eyes, sexy in their dark skin, passing out incomprehensible leaflets, who burned cigarette holes in their arms, protesting the narcotic tobacco haze of capitalism, who distributed super-communist pamphlets in Union Square, weeping and undressing while the sirens of Los Alamos wailed them down and wailed down Wall, and the Staten Island ferry also wailed, who broke down crying in white gymnasiums, naked and trembling before the machinery of other skeletons, who bit detectives in the neck and shrieked with delight in police cars for committing no crime but their own wild cooking pederasty and intoxication.
Yes.